I come tonight with just an observation based upon the deliberations of the ordinance committee. Kicking around in particular that sidewalks, no clearance ordinance upgrade apparently thereafter already present on the books. And the objection I have to it, or the suggestion I have to it, right now, it says 6 hours. You've got to get your sidewalks cleaned after the end of the storm. I believe 6 hours is too short a time, depending upon the storm. As an example, the storm, excuse me, if the storm ends at 10 o'clock in the morning, you've got to have your sidewalk clear by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Person works, it's not possible. You can't have it done. I don't even think the city could comply with the 6-hour limitation. In fact, I know it. And I would suggest that you consider making it a minimum of 12 hours. And depending upon the storm, conditioning there, if you get a whopper of the storm, you could run 12 hours. Sometimes you can't get your streets cleaned for 2 days after some storms. So it would be unreasonable to expect sidewalks to be cleaned off. And that's the only question that I had in the observation. I think it deserves to be changed because it's not workable, I don't think. It seems to be a subjective rule that could be abused, and that's a little concerning. Can it be enforced fairly without risk of favoritism or targeting? I mean, it's very uncomfortable with the rule. I mean, I have over 200 linear feet of sidewalk that I clear. And unfortunately, I'm still able to do it. And I can appreciate it. Sometimes it's just not pleasant to me. But, and I have been the victim, so-called, of people who don't clear their sidewalks. Year after year, forcing me to walk out the road to go to church or something. You know, it's going to go on, and I don't see where you would fix the ordinances that it's going to change. Let's at least get realistic and make it longer before the hard hand of the city comes down on me. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Mr. Sanford, please. Name and address for the public record, please. Thank you.
Edward Virginia, 31 Castellan. I got a suggestion. Go to Cliff Street and Summer Street with a stop sign there. Because I was over Tommy Bennett's when they fly there like Route 8. Right. And I got another thing, add to that gentleman there. New Haven, they have 48 hours to clear the sidewalks off after the storm.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Anyone here from the public who wishes to speak? Third time, is there anyone here from the public who wishes to speak? Hearing none, seeing none. The public session is closed. Thank you. Public official session, Mayor City, please.
Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen and residents of the great city of Ansonia. I want you to know that despite this being a popular vacation month, we have been busy at work helping to recharge our city and making it better than ever. Our summer camp is in full swing, and I am happy to say that we have more than 140 children enrolled this year. Great job to Jeff Capola and the volunteer staff for making this happen. Thank you. We have a lot of exciting things happening this summer. Soon, the final design for Wakely Avenue will be completed. Per the request of our residents and members of this board, we are able to extend the lighting the full length of the street. On July 18th at 6 p.m., we will hold a public hearing for the Prindle Avenue Pulaski Highway project at M. O'Brien Technical School cafeteria. I invite anyone interested in this project to come to the hearing. Prindle Avenue and Pulaski Highway is a sidewalk and safety enhancement project that the city first contemplated over 10 years ago. We recently secured the $1.3 million and are underway with the design. This week, I met with Waters Construction at a pre-construction meeting last week. They will begin mobilizing equipment in preparation for construction of Segment 8 of the Riverwalk on July 17th. They will be doing prep work in anticipation of the bridge that will be installed. This has been a long-anticipated project that it was delayed due to the Army Corps and deep permitting. The delays added to the cost. Fortunately, we were able to secure an additional $500,000 so this project could finally be realized. You may also have seen in the paper our announcement for yet another grant in the amount of $1.7 million to extend the Riverwalk into our downtown. This segment will include a multi-use path and sidewalk, pedestrian improvements, as well as a miniature lighthouse, which I am calling the Charger Point Light. The lighthouse will have an observation platform where visitors will be able to see the bend in the river in the lower Naugatuck Valley. This segment will also help to draw residents and visitors into our downtown area, which is a critical component to our economic development. The more foot traffic we generate downtown, the better our retail and restaurant tenants will do. Shortly, we may have some exciting news for you regarding a potential reuse of another building in our downtown. We are hoping to have an announcement on a new manufacturing tenant. On July 19th, Ansonia Copper and Brass will go on the auction block. We are working with the federal and state agencies to continue to access and remediate this property. We are hopeful that there will be a willing partner or developer to work with the city in redeveloping the almost 43 acres of land in the heart of our downtown. A reminder to our residents that there are a lot of events this summer with the spotlight on downtown. Our farmers market and summer concert series runs from July 12th, which is tomorrow, through August 23rd. And of course, I hope to see you all at Rock the Valley, our premier event, which includes bands, fireworks, and vendors. Ansonia's own Senator George Logan will be appearing in the Electric Lady Band. Please enjoy your time with friends and family, where your vacation may take you. But be sure to include downtown Ansonia in your plans. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Are there any questions from the Alderman, Mayor, City Alderman, please?
Yes.
The Administrator of Constituent Services, that office was supposed to be terminated as of September 30th, and the salary was stopped?
That's correct.
Is the gentleman still doing
He's
it?
still there. I have some money that I took from my budget because he has some unfinished plans. There's a lot of things that are unfinished that I need him to finish up between now and August 19th. And so I'm having him come back on a part-time basis. On Monday and Thursdays, he's full-time, but on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, he's part-time. And I'm taking it from the miscellaneous section of my budget.
My understanding is that's not legal, that you can't take it out of your budget and put it into the
Well, it's all within
administration.
it's all within the
It's in
same
the mayor's
same
office.
department. It's all within the same department, the mayor's office.
I just still don't think it's legal. Do you want to mention? Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah, well, Randy was going to,
Well, no.
yeah,
Henry
Mr.
was up
Deliver.
next.
Okay.
I was moving on to another topic. I was just going to ask you, the summer camps, where is that?
Up at the Nolan Field.
Okay.
any other questions from the Alderman, Mayor, City, please? Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Where did he say the lighthouse was going to be?
You know where Target's parking lot is in the back? It's right there. I have a map in my office. You can come down, I'll show it to you. It's going to go right there near the wall. It's going to be a beautiful site. It's right on the bend of the river.
Mr. Blackwell, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Well, Pat Henry just asked you about the summer camp. It used to be at Prendergast School. Why was it moved to Nolan Field, do you know?
Because we refused these schools.
By the superintendent of schools?
Yes.
I didn't think they owned any property. I mean, I read an article by one of the elected officials, Vinnie Scarlatta, specifically stated that the Board of Ed does not own any property. I was just wondering what their course of action of denying us access to the schools was.
They would have had to man it, you know, because the children, usually when it gets too hot, they got to go inside an air-conditioned area. We don't have that at Nolan Field. We got a tent. I had a tent put up.
Now, do we have to
Try to
man,
hydrate them as much as possible.
do we have to man Ansonia High School football games and baseball games at Nolan Field when they use them?
Yes,
And we have to maintain them too for them, right?
yes.
Did they put anything back into the budget for that
I
maintenance?
have no idea.
Mike, can you answer that?
Not that I know of. Public Works handles it.
So they don't contribute anything? Okay, thank you.
I have one more question. The benches and the tables that are up at Fountain Lake were not from the Mathis Fund? They came from...
Zero.
Should I
You could.
Yes.
deal with that, since it was me? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
You know that I'm being redundant, but you know that I got $5,000 from Farrell.
Yes.
There was an article that it came from the Matthews Foundation. Farrell's was quite upset.
Who commented?
Greg put it in.
No, we shared a post. It was a
Post
Facebook
said that it
post.
came from the Matthews, the grant
Yeah,
came from
we
the
didn't-
Matthews
we didn't-
Foundation.
It was on the
It
City
didn't
Ansonia
come from the
site.
Matthews Foundation. I had to go to Farrell's and straighten it out.
I didn't see it.
We did-
Yeah, we'll print it up and see where it came from,
Yeah.
and address it.
I don't-
Greg Martin posted it.
Well, he may have posted it, but I don't know that he wrote it, because we don't know.
Well, in the future, since it was a large sum of money that they gave to to do those projects at Fountain Lake, that, I'm gonna try to do other things with donations, and in the future, it would be nice if the right person, the right organization is credited.
If we wrote it, yeah, okay,
Okay,
sure.
that's it.
You did say that, what you said, 'cause I saw it.
Pardon me?
You did say what you said,
The Mathis Fund.
yeah.
It said the Matthews Foundation, and Farrell's was upset that they were not quoted as giving the money. It was misquoted, so just in the future, it would appreciate it if the right people were acknowledged for their donation. That's it.
If it's found that this article was published incorrectly, can't we rebut it or make a correction, an apology to Farrell? If it was something that was done on the city's
We
part?
can put a post out either way, thanking Farrell for their donation again, and making it clear what they contributed.
Okay.
And your article was also posted on the city website.
Right, I think that article, took care of it, because the money was given to the Seymour Land Trust.
Yeah,
I'm a member, I'm
Right.
a director. We did have a crystal, nice thing
Yeah.
that we had made for
Well,
the Farrells.
there was a
I
photograph of
presented-
you.
I presented it to them, and
Yeah.
I think that everything's fine.
Well,
now.
that's what I thought you were talking about. We shared that picture of you with Paul Zepp at Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shared that. I don't know about the other.
Yeah, we can clarify, and I'm sure Farrell's does know we appreciate their donations, and we certainly appreciate them. Remember that time we built them the $2 million road?
And by the way, it's the first time I
Oh, you forgot about that.
By the way, it's the first time I went in the building, and it is magnificent.
Yes, it really is.
Utterly magnificent.
Yeah.
Any other questions or reactions? Any Alderman? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Marini, Corporation Counsel.
Board, Mr. President, we had a good discussion with the ordinance committee, crafting some ordinances to address various issues throughout the town. That's up for discussion tonight. We do not have a complement that could pass those ordinances without further publication in the paper and also a public hearing. It's up to the board to decide whether to go that route or to wait until a meeting where you have 12 or more aldermen to simply pass them, as we've typically done in the past. But they're pretty far-ranging. There is the snow removal policy. There was some discussion earlier in the night about the 6-hour requirement, and certainly that's a subject of discussion, although I will note that that is the existing law, so that's been in place for some time, although there are additions now to what would be found as a violation under this act, including clearing of snow from your property onto the street, as that's been a big issue in the past. But we also have an updated parking ordinance addressing essentially very large vehicles being parked on city streets and trailers. We have a special events ordinance, which for the public essentially concerns private individuals having parties where you're having 100 or more people showing up. The police have no prior notice, and it causes a good bit of disruption in the neighborhood and use of city resources. So the thought was, recommended by the chief, having a way of at least putting these events on the radar and making sure that the city's well equipped to handle these things. Falcon Hall recently had one of these events after a graduation, and it attracted hundreds and hundreds of people into the area. It seemed to materialize out of nowhere, and they seemed to know about it, and police department in the city had no prior notice that it was going to happen. So something like this, or you remember the lounge, the Savoy Lounge, they would have their parties on the weekends, and again, hundreds of people showing up out of nowhere. We could have a better way of putting a handle on these things. Rental Accountability Act, we've been looking for some way to put more teeth into our laws regarding absentee homeowners and the way they're maintaining their apartments or the way they're renting out non-apartments, which is the biggest concern to individuals. This in particular, there's a highlight here, would hold the absentee landlord accountable for the tuition that the city would have incurred, the tuition costs from a child in an illegal apartment. So the idea is, of course, not to punish the people that are here illegally, sometimes not even knowing that it's an illegal apartment, but putting the burden squarely on the property owner and also any realtor that may have been involved in knowingly advertising an illegal apartment. And it does happen too much. And of course, there's some changes to the Tobacco-Free Recreation Act. There was a proposed change of the vaping. That was actually a split vote, I believe, at the ordinance committee. But again, it's up to the board whether you're going to take any of these ordinances into consideration tonight or later. You can certainly talk about that tonight either way. And in executive session, we have some important issues to discuss in terms of some city buildings. And I do have this request to make now, and it will require a vote. We'd like to consider the matter of Rich Bashara, our assistant comptroller, for a personnel matter tonight in executive session. And I do need a vote of this board to add that to the agenda under executive session.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
And, yep, that's perfect. And that's it, pending any questions.
Mr. Chairman. John, those ordinances, are we going to vote on them separate individually or as a package?
Well, I mean, you could decide to vote on them tonight or not to vote on them tonight. Yeah, either way, they can't be passed right now. We don't have the 12 people. So if you do decide to move the process along, it would go to a public hearing, and we'd have to put the notice into the paper. But you can discuss them individually tonight. You don't have to talk about them all as a package. You can decide to refer some and to keep others on, and you could do at your pleasure.
Mr. Carroll, please.
I was going to bring it up later, but since we're talking about it now, we do, I'm the chairman of the ordinance committee, we do have to have a public session before the Board of Aldermen passes them. Plus, the chief has asked me to sit down with him again to retweak a couple of things. So I would advise that we table this discussion until everybody gets a full packet and we have a public hearing. That's it. We can discuss it. Yep.
Are there any other questions of the Alderman Commissioner, please? Thank you. Mr. O'Malley, Economic Development.
Yep, thank you. The mayor mentioned a $1.7 million grant that we just received Just wanted to point out that our Riverwalk, the application, was a #1 regional priority in the Bridgeport Metropolitan Planning region and also in the Waterbury region. So it was highly ranked, and we won a large sum, so that's quite an accomplishment. Nature Center railings are being installed inside today. They're beautiful. If you get a chance, go up and take a look at them. They're handicapped accessible railings, but they just blend in really nicely with the interior, so it looks really nice. The Armory, the 18th and 19th, they'll be setting up the scaffolding. They only have a certain amount of days to complete the project, so, they've been taking their time. I'm not sure. At one point, they said the scaffolding was late in arriving that they ordered, so I'm assuming that's still the case, but they told me the 18th or 19th, 18th and 19th, they'll be erecting the scaffolding. We are taking the architects and engineers through the 65 Main Street to talk about the senior center, to get us some sort of a space needs assessment done for the seniors. We know basically the square footage, we just need to know how that's going to be divided up and what that's going to look like. Still working with USDA on the application, which has been submitted, but they have subsequent questions, maybe 100 or so, that we're working through. They have lots of questions, but we'll get them answered and as we work our way through the process. Let's see, we are in the process of applying for a community connectivity grant, which was part of our road safety audit in February or January, February. The mayor and Mike DeLessio and the police chief, Chief Hale. I wasn't able to make that walk, but they did a road safety audit, and part of that qualified us to apply for this community connectivity grant. And hopefully we'll be successful in getting that money. And that money what we're trying to do is do a streetscape for Main Street. So that's sidewalk improvements, signage, flower pots, benches, I don't know, whatever we can get with the money that if we are successful in winning that grant. So we're in the process of doing that. We've been notified, we applied for 2 brownfields grants. We've been notified that we are at least making it to the stage of interview, which is the next step in the process. So we will be sitting with DECD to talk about our brownfields requests. We made 2, one for Ansonia, Copper and Brass, and the other request was for 65 Main Street for any remedial action that has to be done on that building. And it looks like 65 Main Street is what the state is interested in talking to us about. So we're hopeful that we are going to be successful in getting some funds for that. I think that's about it. Yes?
I just have a question. There was a painting downstairs that has disappeared. I've talked to the mayor about it. The library, as former chairman of the historical commission, the library is swamped with stuff that I brought up. Farrell's donated a whole bunch of stuff. Is there any way that we could possibly incorporate a room in the building with the police station and like next to the senior center?
Yep, as a matter of fact, the mayor received...
I just received the letter from Loizanne Marazzi
Okay.
requesting that from the historical. I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Because there are so many artifacts within our city, and I think it's important that we should have a room for it.
There's
None of
actually
it's
some in that
documented.
building, too.
None of it's documented, and, it's quite a shame that nice painting by Malice, who that art used to be named from, has disappeared.
That's shameful. But yes, that's a good idea, and we certainly have space on the
All I need is
second
one
floor.
room.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's some artifacts in that building, as a matter of fact, that they just left behind.
I'm no longer on that bridge.
Oh, okay, all right. Any other questions? I hope there's more questions.
There's a bunch of construction equipment down, is it Charger Field, or whatever, by the reservoir.
Okay.
Someone asked me, is that in anticipation of that project starting, or is there something else going on?
No, we got road reclamation, we're paving roads.
Yeah.
They just parked it
They
there
just have to
temporary.
park stuff down there? and then-
Yeah, they just parked it there temporary. They're in the process now of doing some roads up the hilltop.
And for our river walk of segment 8, you're going to see a trailer down by the WPCA. They were kind enough to allow that to happen. Well, it's our property, but we're gonna have our engineers in a trailer that are going to be overseeing the project. So you'll see that. And trucks going in and out past 2 o'clock because they're going to need a key. Yes, Alderman Henry.
So as a reminder, the Cityscape grant, if you could include the walkway between Main Street and the West Main parking lot.
Thanks for
That needs to
mentioning
pop,
that.
because nobody knows it's there.
That will be part of the application because we want to make a connection with the train station as well. So, and possibly some improvements there. Yes, Alderman
Time
Vaquero.
Hill for Riverwalk completion.
Segment 8, they have 6 months.
In the White House?
That's segment 3 and 4. That is, we just got that money, so I would say that probably won't start until the spring of next year, of 2018. It's a good question.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
In the future with the Riverwalk, it's supposed to go to Waterbury, correct?
We're supposed to head north and make a connection with the neighboring towns. So either south to Derby or north to see what we want to go north.
My question is, if we're going north and Ansonia Copper and Brass is going on being foreclosed and putting on the block, would that have any dealings with our future with the Riverwalk? So if it becomes
I mean,
private property,
That's a consideration. Depends on where that walk will take us. Like,
Yeah.
it depends on where you want, where the city wants to see that go. Along the river
both
or,
sides of the river, Ansonia
Yep.
Copper and Brass?
yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Consideration down the road, right? Past your property there.
Not near my property.
No more? Please. Really? One more question? Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sheriff. Councilor.
Good evening. City budget's finalized. I want to thank this board for all the time and effort so that we can get our mill rate set. We're continuing to monitor the state and their budget process. Once they've determined what they'll be giving us, we can come back here and reassess what they've done and make adjustments as we need to. Motor vehicle tax bills will be issued. I know there's been a whole bunch of conversation out there, but it'll probably take us 30 to 60 days once we know definitively what the state is doing, whether they're going to give us or not give us the motor vehicle cap grant. So depending on when the state, it could be September, it could be October, it could be November. We could decide to just say we're going to issue one bill in January and call it a day too. So we'll talk more once we find out what the state's doing with that. We put it up on the website. I know we've had some people calling about it, talking about it, still asking. So we put it up on the website. We've put it out on the Facebook page. So finance in the process of closing the general ledger system for 16-17. Hoping to open up the PO system for the 17-18 budget tomorrow or Thursday. We had a couple of setbacks today with our balance in, but we're getting there. Still a lot of analysis and journal entries that need to be made. I've been in touch with the auditor. He should start soon. I'll be feeding him a number of different things so he can start doing his review. As an aside, we did take in quite a bit of money from Cache Creek in the last week of June. I think it was about $450,000 came in, and as such, I'm hopeful that we're in a better position as a year end than I had previously thought we would be. So that was a good thing that we ended up catching almost $500,000 extra in the revenue side. Fiber install progress. The utilities have made us rerouted, as I've indicated before, north to go south, and they've done a make-ready assessment on the poles. We need to put our cable on. UI company estimated around $7,000, which was in our original estimate. We also figured Frontier would be about the same because the poles are every other pole. Frontier came in with a make-ready assessment of over almost $60,000 to do the job. So we're working with that. We're going to move forward with it. We're going to work to cut that number as much as we can. But they really don't want us to put our cable on their poles because it's kind of competitive. So that is hopefully there, but from indications, if we can get all these things finalized with Frontier, hopefully we have that cable in by the end of this year. And finally, Boat did not meet in July, so there will be no voting tonight on the comptroller approvals. Some last-minute intradepartmental transfers we did have. I'll present those as part of next month's package to the board for their review, but they're not needed as an approval process for this month. So.
Any questions for Mr. Bashir? Joe Raven, please.
Yes, as a person who still is in business, I depend on money coming in. You're talking about not sending motor vehicle bills out possibly even till January. All that money that would have been coming in now into our treasury, won't that make us a little short when paying our bills?
Hopefully not. But
Well, but won't it make
motor
our...
vehicle bill portion of our budget is about $3 million to $4 million of the total
Send that to
$34
my
million
store.
that we're billing out. So, you know, it could be tight, depending on when they do it. It could start to get a little tight, but we do have, you know, like $3 million of our own money in as part of our revenue budget sharing process. So we've got a little bit of a cushion. Our balance sheet allows us to do a little bit of this. The longer it goes, the harder it will become cash flow wise.
It's a little scary.
We'll have to make wise decisions, and we'll
Right.
deal with those as we come to them. But
Okay,
I'm
thank
hopeful
you.
it will be okay.
I am too. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Bashir? Thank you, Rich.
Yes, right over here.
Oh, Mr. Stowe.
Rich, you mentioned Kaz Creek, and we were discussing this at WPCA. So Kaz Creek goes and they bail out an individual that owes back property taxes, and then just say the next year or the year after, this same individual is unable to pay their taxes. Now, what would Kaz Creek do in that situation?
Yeah,
Do they have two? Because I believe I heard at the time when this was passed, Kaz Creek had the option to either foreclose or not, or keep carrying it.
Yeah, I got the Alderman Stowe, the letter from WPCA. So the way it works, it's really not a bailout. So what Kaz Creek has done is pay the city for the right to own and therefore collect on the liens of taxpayers. So for example, a taxpayer has a lien that's accrued, the city's put it out to bid, Kaz Creek was successful with the bid, and now they paid, in many cases, over 100% of value on that lien. The city gets the money, Kaz Creek gets the right to collect. In terms of what happens to that resident, Kaz Creek now will do whatever it needs to do to collect the money. It could foreclose, or it could have them enter into a payment plan. The person's really not bailed out
Right, so
because
it's
Kaz
not
Creek could be a partial.
It's not a forced foreclosure.
No, but it could become that.
That's where we were having.
It could become that. It's up to Kaz to decide to do that or not.
It's not like a mandatory thing. So that's where we were.
And WPC had asked me a question in the letter, and I could say it in the record. The question was, I believe, if Kaz Creek is successful and they buy the lien, what happens to new liens that accrue with that very same individual? And in the contract that we have, they have an option to purchase the new liens. So Rich had mentioned that we received $450,000 in additional funds from Kaz Creek in the last month. That was a result of us going to Kaz Creek about a month ago and inquiring whether or not they would want to exercise their option to buy the newly accrued liens on the batch that they took last year. Last year we'd gotten $800,000 from those liens. This is the result of them now exercising their option for some new liens. So WPCA, if you chose to be included again, they would have the same option to be able to not only buy liens, but also potentially have like the right of first refusal on new ones that become available.
But it's optional. They're not forced into.
No.
I think the language in...
I think it was their option.
In the old liens, the word was shall purchase the new liens that come out on the old ones they already have. So we were looking for the clarification on whether that meant they had to or they had the option to buy
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, they'll exercise an option on it. But I believe it's their option, so
That's
the
what
city
I
might
thought,
not be able to be in a position to say no, but, you know, it works out best for us to get the money than to not get the money.
Well, and then back, Ms. Radin's question, that's money we would have never got before.
Exactly.
And that's one, this will be the second year consecutive. So there's, ups and downs like everything else. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Bashir from the Alderman? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Bashir. Thank you. Chief Hale, please.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I'd like to begin by publicly thanking Alderman Pat Henry and the American Legion for the Selly Post 50 2 weeks ago, for the second year, I believe, provided a police department with a very nice lunch for every shift. So they came in at every shift and provided some excellent food. So I'd like to publicly thank on behalf of the police department. Deliveries were done in a way that one shift couldn't eat all the food. That will happen, so we were smart enough to do that. Unfortunately, we had a shooting on July 4th at the North End. Second time in 2 years in the same exact spot. The case came together very nicely, very quickly, and we were able to make an arrest that night and secure that individual. There's a prior history, violent history, so we're hoping that this one sticks. And we'll continue the hiring process. We had 2 recruits just entered the academy on Friday in Waterbury. We have 2 recruits in the field training program, and we're still looking for 2 more. So we're actively in the process to get 2 more to get our ranks back up. That's it for now.
Any questions of the Alderman for Chief Hale, please? Tonight, Chief. Thank you. I see we have some Mike Alessio from Public Works. Anything for the Alderman?
Good evening, everyone. These days, this time of year is very busy for Public Works. Very busy. Thank God we got some summer help. It's helping a lot. We have 4 to 5 guys per day on vacation. July and August is vacation time. So, all the other staffs, we're like 7, 8 guys on our own every day that takes care of parks, streets, and make the parks. So, summer help is helping a lot. We're out there cutting grass, curving, so it's a big help. We started reclaiming roads as of yesterday. That road will get reclaimed. Tomorrow we're going to put a minor coat on Park Mountain, Nurses Hill. Real bad streets are taken care of this week and next week. We're shooting the roads that are being done this time. The guys are all graduating this afternoon till 6 o'clock. They're helping out so it'll be done tomorrow. So we got some overtime this next week and the week after. Roads will be done, we'll help out, take care of. We got a car that broke down, that was the white officer vehicle, transmission went, had a lot of problems with it. So for the purchase one, Chief Hale, kind enough to give us one of these cars. Save us, when we plan to buy another car, she was a white officer, so it's looking out good. Things happen with the future, will help us out there a lot. I purchased a couple new lighting mowers for the streets department. We got something left over in the budget, and it was very serious, so instead of going for the referendum money, I had to put away. Purchased it from my budget from last year. We saved $21,000. We go for the referendum money we had in my budget, so picked up 2 new lighting mowers. Needed that. We got our new cap. They were painted this last week. It's working out great.
Back.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's another every day working, so it's, we're gonna have everything old. Army Corps engineers, they're after me about getting the dikes cut. So I have some prices coming in for getting what's on the dikes cut. Even if we get half cut, show them a little incentive this year, they'll back up. Here we had some that was done. Are starting to flow pretty well, and can't put our guys down there. We're understaffed anyway, so you can see the guys going down the rocks. Breaking their ankles, so I'm getting some prices. They don't seem too bad. Maybe $10 for a good cars on Riverwalk. So I'm in like 4 or 5 days of fuel and also actually I didn't get a chance to put on the agenda tonight. The car that we have that was made black was beautiful. We got to scrap. The scrap guy's gonna give us $200.
Mike, you mentioned at the last meeting about the grass on the sidewalks. Are they going to be spraying that pretty soon?
They've been out there.
They aren't on Jackson Street yet. I just came down tonight and,
Yeah, it's, believe it or not, the guys are out there. We had our overtime machine in the road, trying to fix it today.
good.
We're having guys out there doing cutting around stop signs, intersections, where people are complaining about pulling off the roads and not seeing around the corner. Stop signs are covered, so I have, before summer help, go out every day, weed whacking, cleaning intersections.
Okay, I have another question about Wakely Avenue. Is it possible, because I know they're supposed to be starting construction or whatever in the fall, we can't go another year with that road like that. Is it possible right now to, what you spoke about the other place, reclaim and put a binder on it for the winter? Could we?
I know what you're saying, there would be,
It's going to be a bigger cost if you get more things. I blew a tire. I don't know what the front end of my car is like. I've had 2 or 3 of my customers that have had to get new tires, have had to redo their thing. The road is horrible, all the way from Franklin Street down to Division. It is absolutely horrible. Can't even, no customers won't even come to the stores and the places on Wakely Avenue because they say they won't bring their cars down there.
I've been policing it as much as I could.
And they didn't do a great job when they did that little bit between Church Street and May Street. It's disgusting.
Trying to get it a little further.
But the way they did it was terrible. They just patched it. They didn't do anything. I mean, we're going to redo it, but what good is that if a year from now all these people, I'm probably be out of business if it keeps going this way, plus all the little eating places that are there that depend on walk-in and drive-by people. It's not fair. It's got to be, something's got to be done. It's horrible. As a matter of fact, I think I called, 3 people come into my store one afternoon and told me that there was a big pothole down near Division Street. You guys, great, you came up and fixed it. Well, guess what? It's starting to go on the other side of the pothole. So we're going back to the same exact problem again. And I don't mean to be a troublemaker, but it is my street, and my people that live are telling me they're going on the back roads to avoid Wakely Avenue. It's just any other way they can go.
I know the project started a little earlier than probably should have. Should have waited for the final.
But it's not going to help us because it's going to be another year before they do anything with that street.
As they go and they put their storm drains in, we're going to police that a little better. We're going to make sure
I hope
that
so.
and maybe as we're doing it, they'll pre-patch other.
They didn't police it very well last time. It was horrible.
Keep an eye on it as time progresses. Make sure I'm there more often.
That's not solving my problem, or anybody else's on Wakely. Believe me, I get complaints every day.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Guerrero, please.
On a brighter note, Mr. DeLisio, you and Sean Raleigh and the rest of the Public Works should get congratulated for the effort that you put in to get Noligan and the girls softball tournaments in this past weekend. I know we all received a letter from a concerned parent, but in the meantime, things were being handled by Public Works. Everything was under control. I guess the district was very pleased and the state was very pleased with everything that went on this past weekend, and you guys did a great job. Please do that. They did.
To piggyback on that, I went down there one day and it was pouring rain and they were cutting the grass, so appreciate that. Okay, now my list, Mike, now my list. You put this little yellow chain on the front of City Hall when it's closed. Can you do that at the Armory on State Street? So people don't go hang out in that little alcove, and start fires and they get filthy or whatever. So this is a physical indicator you're not supposed to be up there. Just put a little chain you can see from the street. Doesn't look bad, please. Webster Drive near Harris Road. There's a patch in the road. There's a pothole in that patch. Yeah, it's actually on Webster, close to Harris. So I don't know how you do curbs, but Greenfield Drive and Marinelli, they've been looking for curbs for a couple of years here, they've been ripped up. Are you writing that or just scribbling? Pete? Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Jerry, what was any other questions?
Is there any way we can get a couple more broad bag carriers to put the water, a couple of cars? People that are asking, they pick up after trucks, but there's no place to go. Sometimes, yeah, maybe they got a couple more dispensers. Thank you, Mike.
Any Carroll, please.
And you will ask around if that painting was taken out of?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
I've never heard of it. I knew it was down there. Mike doesn't know what it was off the snake, or maybe they moved somewhere.
You still have those things that I gave Public Works to attach things to the walls, they're called museum mounts. I gave you a whole kit and the special screwdrivers.
Yeah, that's what they use.
Yeah. If you find that painting, could you please, when you put it back up, use those mounts so that nobody can...
That was just something that came, that's
Yep.
what I'm talking about.
Yep. Thank you.
Let me upstairs.
Any other questions?
No, I
Mr.
looked
Alessio?
upstairs.
All set? All right. Thank you, Mr. Alessio. Jerry, are you coming in arms, or is that Mr. Blackwell? Mr. Blackwell, okay, Mr. Wine, you already got some. Thanks for being here. Okay, I think that wraps up public official session. Committee reports?
Finance, pay all,
Anything there?
huh?
Budget's all done, huh, Charlie?
And pay all bills are found to be correct.
Second by Mr. Castellitis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Public Works, I guess Mr. Alessio covered it pretty thoroughly. Arms, Mr. Blackwell, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. ARMS responded to 256 calls for service during the month of June. Also 14 calls to Derby for mutual aid, and an additional 2 calls to Seymour for mutual aid. Hospitals that received the transports, 131 of them went to Griffin, 20 went to Yale, New Haven, 5 to Bridgeport Hospital.
Mr. Blackwell,
Excuse me.
I apologize. If I can ask the audience to just, respect the board of Aldermen here, and hearing voices in the background.
It's not the whole.
No.
Both. It's both.
I apologize, Mr. Blackwell, if you proceed.
Thank you. Bridgeport Hospital received 5 patients. St. Vincent's in Bridgeport received 2. Yale Children's Hospital received 6. Yale New Haven Hospital St. Ray Campus received 3. St. Mary's Hospital Waterbury received 2. And the total amount of collections for June was $61,144.72. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Blackwell. Mr. J?
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
We have a plan that report that says how many mutual aid you get from
We do. It's included in this report. We received 2 calls for mutual aid last month. They were on our 3rd call. So while 2 of our ambulances were tied up, a 3rd call came in, and 2 times we had to ask for mutual aid. And I believe one of the times, or both times, we had people respond from home. So there was somebody from ARMS on scene on the 3rd call.
the firehouse, one of the times when I heard call from Seymour,
Okay. Yeah, there's 2 times that on a 3rd call that somebody came in to help us out. And we had staff on scene also, just no bus.
thanks.
Thank you.
WPCA, Mr. Storer, we all set, or?
If I say anything incorrect, maybe Richie can help me out here, because I was struggling at the meeting a little bit, but with the 311 project, that is going to, that capital fee is going to stay the same, is that right, Rich?
$60.
And the single family is going to be decreased by 2%. Is that right, Rich?
I think we did 2.5% reduction.
Okay.
And we went from $2.45 to $2.38 per 100 cubic feet. And
Right.
from 207, I believe, down to 201 for a well bill, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not that simple to understand. I still struggle with it. Thanks, Rich, but we had a decrease. People are going to see a decrease in their bill for the project fee there. Anyway, something I'd like to mention as far as the WPCA goes with the Mr. Nunzio running it. Years ago, when it was designed to pay back a lot of these fees, we were counting on money from interest. Is that correct, Rich?
On the 311?
Yes.
Yes.
So, and because of how the economy's been over the past 10 years, that wasn't possible. So I just want to mention, for our commissioner, our chairman, to have been able to work this out where we've been able to save money and drop the fees for the citizens was no small thing. It was really, he deserves a lot of credit for the work he's done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. Fire Commission, Mr. Henry, please.
I'll just give you the total calls for 67. Ansonia's bravest is out there every day at all hours, despite former Commissioner Joe Giannetti's leaving and vacating his office. The junior alderman from the 6th Ward is doing a stellar job as commissioner. And we appreciate our firemen and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I got a question.
Yes, Mr. Stowe.
That truck finally get sold?
It did get sold.
Yeah, we already-
Months ago.
But there was some
Lose
complication.
me.
There was a complication that we weren't able to, it had to be inspected or something, that went through?
It did.
Okay, I don't know, I
Got
must have
sold.
been
It went away.
somewhere else. I must have been having Alzheimer's moment. Thanks, Pat.
The funding be directed to the fire department.
I don't know how, I forgot about it. Thank you.
Ordinance Committee, Mr. Carroll.
I think we've discussed it.
Okay. Just wanted your input. Sunny Housing Authority, John Rady.
Okay, the Housing Authority had an executive meeting the last Monday of the month. And at that meeting, they were looking over resumes, I guess, and everything else. And all the commissioners should have known, because they did get a message on their email, that there was a meeting Wednesday night at the Ortoli Center. I was there, Brandy was there was 4 or 5 people there. The 3 new commissioners didn't show up. So there was no meeting. It was the first time in the 6 years that I've been going to these meetings that there was no quorum. They announced in the paper the next day that they had hired someone. It should have been at the meeting because there were a lot of people there from the project, the people who live there, and they usually look forward to the summer meetings because we have them there. And they were a little disappointed that they couldn't have it, but the next day it was in the paper. And I don't recall, I'm not on the commission or anything like that, but I am a member of the administration in Ansonia. I would like to see the resume and the letter of recommendation from Derby of the gentleman that they hired. Many of my constituents have come into my store, have called me on the phone, have met me in the grocery stores and the other stores, and they didn't like what they read in the paper. I don't know how we did this or why we did this, and I would definitely like to see the letter of recommendation from Derby. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Rady. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I can comment the Housing Authority, the fire department goes out to calls on Woodlawn Avenue like 2 or 3 times a week. It's ridiculous. I don't know what the problem is. They don't know how to cook. They can't open up one. I don't know what it is, but it's getting to a point where I want to start suggesting that You know, there's payments to be made to reimburse the fire department, or their clientele needs to be, if they're constant offenders, they need to vacate. But it's just ridiculous. Our guys have to go out so many times to this place for nothing, really.
Can I address that, please?
Thank you.
I go to the meetings, and I do know, they do know what's going on. I think some of the problem is that the fire alarms or the fire things are very close to where the stove is, or I've never been in any of the apartments, so I don't know. And what it seems to be, if they do something on the stove, it hits the alarm and sets it off. They've been trying to address it. They have been addressing it. I'm not sure. I do have a scanner also, so I do know they do go out a lot. But they have been addressing that. They have been working on it. There's no way you can throw an older person like myself who perhaps forgets something if the alarm goes off. We can't pick on our older people. Since I'm one of them, I don't want that. But I think we are addressing that, Pat. It is being talked about, and
Thank you very much.
I don't know what else. They're trying their best.
Mr. Carroll, please.
Joe, it is correct. They have been discussing this for quite a long time. I go to their meetings. I suggest that it'd be great if you showed up from the fire department and told them this, because there are a lot of smoke alarms up there, and they're right next to the kitchen. You can't boil water without it going off.
The meeting
Mr.
is-
Lebro, please.
Maybe we can make a recommendation that we hire somebody to go in and move these smoke detectors to an area where they're not so close to the stove. I mean, you can have them in the hallway. I mean, I have them in my apartment. You don't have to have it above the stove. You just need to have it in the proximity of the kitchen area and the bedroom areas. They don't need to be exactly where the stove is.
I think they do. They are moving them, and that is in their budget.
Well, that would alleviate part of the problem.
That's why I thought that it'd be great if he came up
I
to
think that
the
would be
meeting
great.
and incited that to give them a little push.
We'll let you know when the next meeting is.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. The rest of our committee reports.
Not yet, Mr. Tripp.
Okay,
Your
Mr.
idea,
Stoll.
I'm sorry if I'm delaying, but I think that some of these things are important. Okay, so one, we were working on a salary committee, was working on secretaries. Is that
Yes,
right,
sir.
Mr. Tripp? I mean, Mr. Marini? Okay. So in September, can we go back to that?
I think now that the budget's come to an end, it's high time we go back and wrap that up.
Is it possible for you and Mr. Dempsey to talk to each other and organize for the month of September?
Yes, so let me correspond with him, get the latest schedule of salaries that we had finalized, and let's schedule a meeting.
Thanks. Second thing, I'm not trying to burden you at all, Josh. My cousin happens to be the director there of the Nature Center, so I mean, it's not really right for me to be, it's my cousin. So there was supposed to be an internship there. Do you know anything? Because you were talking to her for a while. I mean, how did she make out with that?
She had just general job postings, public job postings for probably 20 different things, from forestry to like assistant rangers to marketing, social media, whatever it was. I boiled it all down and turned it into one ad that encompassed all that, and it was an internship job listing, and I submitted it for posting to the local universities, Sacred Heart, University of New Haven, but it's directed to her. She was the point person, so whether they've gotten people, she'd be your contact person.
So we need to ask her how that followed up. Okay.
If they haven't received like a lot of or any applications, then we need to look into why that's happening, because
So do you
it's
want?
out there. I'll take care of it.
Do you want to email her and
Yeah.
try to figure out
Yeah, 'cause
what's
I have other
going
things
on?
to talk to her
Because
about.
the city's invested a lot of money in that place, and I know that that place has a lot to give, and she'd do well with some
No,
help.
I'll take the lead on that.
Thank
I have
you.
other things I want to talk to you about, too.
Excellent, thank you, Mr. Gosh, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Stewart, we considered that segment of the agenda.
I just thought those things should be brought up. Thank you.
Absolutely. I was remiss in thanking you for the information.
Thank you, President.
Municipal reports. Apparently, Bo did not have the regular monthly meeting previous, so we do not have the items or quote recommendations or comptroller approvals. Excuse me. But we do have the land use department report, and I will accept the motion. Mr. McCarl.
June, it's been $20,424.30. And for the fiscal year ending June 2017, total amount was $259,528.58. Making a motion to accept this report.
Second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you very much. Tax collector report and trust refund. Mr. Castellitis, please.
Make a motion to accept the tax collector's report for request for refund in the amount of $258.78. Correct?
Is there a second on that? By Mr. DeLibero. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Actions and claims. Do I have Mr. DeLibero?
Yes, refer all accident and claims to corporate counsel.
Second by Mr. Castellitis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you very much. No communications tonight. I see no resignations. I see two appointments. One for fire marshal from Mr. Derek Lundin. I'll entertain the motion. Mr. John Short.
Make a motion to accept this recommendation.
Second by Mr. Patrick Henry. All those in favor?
Is it open for discussion?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
In the future, I read in the Valley Independent that he was already sworn in. In the future, can it wait until he is accepted by the Board of Aldermen before he's sworn in?
Just a little clarification on that. He had to be sworn in by February 28th. Oh, is that correct, Janet? As the interim. It had to happen according to the state law. So that was, I believe, February 28th. She had to swear him in. Right.
Okay.
Thank you all. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Also in for Inland Wetlands Commission, 2-year term, Chicago Rivers. Mr. McCarl.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we accept the appointment of Chicago Rivers to the Inland Wetlands Commission.
Is there a second term? Mr. Castellitis, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Resolutions. Okay, congratulations, Chicago.
Thanks.
All right, now, we have a resolution here, and the wording of it, it's in legalese. I think there's only one person in the chamber who can understand it, seeing Mr. Galvin's not here. Mr. Rainey, can you put in layman's terms, I don't see Mr. Lundin here, so this is the resolution regarding City of Ansonia authorizing the execution of agreement with Ricer LLC, Compliance Engine Solutions, which is sort of confusing to a lot of people.
So the fire commission had put this together with Derek's assistance.
Derek. It sounds like it's a database reporting system that is not going to charge, it's not going to cost us anything, but they need to have, I guess, the contract to use or something. Is that what it's referencing?
Yeah, it's basically guidelines for how it's to be executed. It's authorizing the contractual relationship with them. Compliance Engine Solution, Rich, what's that? In terms of what they actually do.
Yeah, I think they come out and they inspect the fire extinguishers in all the buildings. That's what he explained to me.
Fire extinguisher?
Enter into
And sprinkler systems, both. Fire extinguishers and sprinklers. No cost.
There's no cost.
No cost. There's no fee at all.
Why do they?
They require an agreement.
You want to bring him in to let him explain it. Do that. No, he's not here tonight.
We were gonna ask him, can we delay this so that he can explain it? Yeah, could I make a motion that we table this?
Blackwell? All those in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? So moved.
We'll ask him to come to the August
Let him
meeting.
clear it next month.
Everybody's Thank you, John, about that. All right, ordinance, there are 5 proposed ordinances or discussion of ordinance.
There should be 4.
I've got 5 titles, which ones do these?
The revision to the tobacco-free recreation, that was a typo, so that was did not
Withdrawn.
pass. Right.
That is withdrawn. Okay, in regards to ordinance proposals 1 through 4, as previously mentioned, we do not have 12 aldermen here, we only have 11 aldermen here tonight. None of these can be voted on. We can discuss, if people want to discuss, Mr. Kevin,
I was just gonna make a motion to table it to next month.
is there a second on that? Councilors, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I have to ask, is there any new business from anybody? Is there any new business from anybody? Is there any old business from anybody? Any old business? Okay, Mr. DeLibero,
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session
second by Mr. Castellitis, all those in favor?
with a strict 5-minute timer.
5-minute break.
Break.
That's it, no more.
Executive session.
The mayor, Rich Bashara, for his portion that we added, Sheila O'Malley, and that's it. Unless the chief would like to read this. Chief, would you like to stay on for executive session?
Be here for another hour or so.
Hey, you're 15 minutes over budget.
Did you break your card down going on with the end?